Hello everyone, welcome back to NovelListen English. Today we are exploring the passionate and stormy world of Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights. This video is Level 2, designed for intermediate learners. We will use richer vocabulary and more natural sentence structures. Before we begin, don't forget to download the free PDF worksheet. The link is in the description box below. It contains key vocabulary and comprehension questions to test your understanding after the story. It's a great way to challenge yourself. Now get comfortable. Listen closely to the pronunciation and follow the story. Let's travel to the windy moors of Yorkshire. Let's begin.
In 1801, a gentleman named Lockwood rented Thrushcross Grange and visited his landlord Heathcliff at Wuthering Heights. The manor was a somber, windswept place. Heathcliff, a reserved and brooding man, offered a cold welcome. Lockwood felt immediately uneasy, sensing that the house held dark, hidden secrets within its old stone walls. Forced to stay overnight due to a snowstorm, Lockwood had a terrifying nightmare. He dreamt of a ghostly girl named Catherine sobbing at his window, begging to be let in. When Lockwood mentioned the dream, Heathcliff became hysterical, crying out for the ghost to return. It was clear that a deep tragedy haunted him. Nellie Dean, the housekeeper, began telling Lockwood the family's history. Many years ago, the old master, Mr. Earnshaw, brought home a ragged orphan named Heathcliff from Liverpool. Although Earnshaw loved the boy like his own son, his biological son, Hindley, grew to resent the intruder, viewing him as a rival. Despite Hindley's hatred, Heathcliff found a soulmate in Catherine, the master's daughter. They were inseparable, spending their days wandering the wild, stormy moors. Their connection was more than just friendship. Catherine claimed that their souls were identical, forged in the same fire of passion and a rebellious, untamed nature. After Mr. Earnshaw's death, Hindley inherited Wuthering Heights and immediately sought revenge on Heathcliff. He treated him like a common laborer, forcing him to work in the stables and denying him any education. Despite the constant humiliation, Heathcliff endured the mistreatment for Catherine's sake, unaware that their paths would soon diverge. One evening, Catherine and Heathcliff spied on the wealthy Linton children at Thrushcross Grange. Their adventure turned into a disaster when a dog bit Catherine's ankle. While Heathcliff was sent away, Catherine remained at the Grange to recover, marking the beginning of a divide that would eventually tear them apart. After 5 weeks with the Lintons, Catherine returned to Wuthering Heights as a refined lady. Her elegant dress and polished manners shocked Heathcliff, who felt increasingly alienated. This transformation created a painful distance between them, as Catherine became caught between her wild past and a sophisticated social future. Edgar Linton began visiting Catherine, igniting a fierce rivalry with Heathcliff. Humiliated by his low social status and Edgar's mockery, Heathcliff's resentment deepened. He struggled to maintain his bond with Catherine while realizing that his lack of wealth and education made him an outsider in her new world. In a pivotal moment, Catherine confessed to Nellie that Edgar had proposed. She admitted that while her soul belonged to Heathcliff, marrying him would degrade her because of his poverty. Unbeknownst to her, Heathcliff overheard this devastating remark and vanished into the night, his heart shattered by her betrayal. A violent thunderstorm shook the moors as Heathcliff disappeared without a word. Distraught and filled with regret, Catherine searched for him in the rain until she became gravely ill. He was gone, and the heavy silence he left behind at Wuthering Heights was the start of a long, bitter winter. 3 years later, Heathcliff returned unexpectedly, transformed into a wealthy and sophisticated gentleman. His arrival at Thrushcross Grange shocked everyone, especially Catherine, whose joy was evident. Despite her marriage to Edgar, the old spark between her and Heathcliff was instantly reignited, much to Edgar's growing discomfort and jealousy. Heathcliff sought out Hindley at Wuthering Heights, but not for a friendly reunion. Hindley, now a ruined gambler and an alcoholic, was an easy target. Heathcliff began lending him money and playing cards, slowly and systematically stripping Hindley of his remaining wealth to take full control of the Earnshaw estate. Edgar's sister, Isabella, became infatuated with Heathcliff's mysterious and dark persona. Catherine warned her that Heathcliff was a fierce, pitiless man, but Isabella refused to listen. Heathcliff, seeing a perfect chance to further provoke and hurt Edgar, began to manipulate Isabella's feelings for his own vengeful purposes. The tension finally exploded when Edgar confronted Heathcliff in front of Catherine. Tired of Heathcliff's constant presence, Edgar ordered him to leave and never return. This conflict placed Catherine under immense psychological pressure as she felt torn between the two most important men in her life, leading to a mental breakdown. In her despair, Catherine locked herself in her room and refused to eat. She began to descend into a feverish delirium, her mind drifting back to her childhood on the moors with Heathcliff. She felt trapped in her refined life at the Grange, longing for the wild freedom and the soulmate she had lost. While Edgar was away, Heathcliff secretly entered the Grange for one final meeting with Catherine. Their reunion was a storm of passion and pain. They accused each other of betrayal, yet their love remained undeniable. In a final heartbreaking embrace, they realized that though their bodies were failing, their souls would always be entwined. That night, Catherine gave birth to a daughter, also named Catherine, but the mother did not survive. She passed away peacefully, leaving Edgar in a state of total devastation. The woman who was the wild heart of the moors was gone, leaving behind a fragile new life and a world filled with sorrow. When Nellie delivered the news of Catherine's death, Heathcliff's grief turned into a terrifying, animalistic rage. He did not pray for her soul to rest in peace. Instead, he begged her ghost to haunt him forever, screaming that he could not live without his life, and he could not breathe without his soul. Catherine was buried in a quiet corner of the churchyard, overlooking the moors she loved so dearly. While Edgar visited the grave with flowers and quiet tears, Heathcliff watched from the shadows. His heart had turned into cold stone, fueled now only by a singular, dark purpose, a lifelong quest for vengeance. Amidst the chaos of Catherine's death, Isabella finally found the courage to escape Heathcliff's domestic tyranny. She fled Wuthering Heights during a storm, leaving the darkness of the moors behind forever. She moved to the south, where she would eventually give birth to a sickly son, Linton, far from Heathcliff's reach. 12 years passed, and a new Catherine grew up at Thrushcross Grange. Unlike her mother, young Cathy was gentle and sheltered. Her father, Edgar, kept her strictly within the estate's walls to protect her from the dark influence of Wuthering Heights. However, her natural curiosity about the world beyond the moors remained untamed. When Isabella died, her sickly son, Linton, was brought back to the moors. Heathcliff showed no fatherly affection. Instead, he viewed the boy as a vital tool for his final revenge. He planned to marry Linton to a young Cathy, ensuring that the Linton fortune would eventually fall legally into his own hands. Cathy eventually discovered the existence of her cousins. Despite her father's strict warnings, she began a secret correspondence with Linton. She felt deep pity for his fragile health and mistook her sympathy for love. Heathcliff encouraged this bond, carefully weaving a web to lure the unsuspecting girl back to his house. Heathcliff's cruelty intensified as Edgar's health began to fail. He knew that if Linton died before the marriage, his legal claim to the Grange would be lost. He manipulated the children's emotions, using Linton's fear and Cathy's kindness to force them together. The shadow of the past began to darken the lives of the innocent. The trap was finally set. Heathcliff lured Cathy to Wuthering Heights and refused to let her leave until she married Linton. He kept her prisoner while her father lay dying at Thrushcross Grange. By the time Cathy finally returned home, Edgar was gone, and Heathcliff had legally claimed everything the Lintons owned. Following the deaths of her husband, Linton, and her father, Edgar, Cathy became a virtual prisoner at Wuthering Heights. Heathcliff, now the legal master of both estates, treated her with cold indifference. She lived in a world of silence and bitterness, seemingly destined to spend her life in a house filled with ghosts and old hatreds. Slowly, the atmosphere at Wuthering Heights began to change. Cathy reached out to Hareton, realizing that his rough exterior hid a desire for kindness. She began teaching him to read, and their shared lessons grew into a deep, genuine affection. This new bond of love started to heal the long-standing wounds of the Earnshaw family. As Cathy and Hareton's love blossomed, Heathcliff's desire for revenge mysteriously vanished. He became obsessed with the memory of the first Catherine, claiming he could see her ghost everywhere. He stopped eating and sleeping, wandering the moors at night, longing to finally reunite with the woman who had always been his only soulmate. One morning, Nellie found Heathcliff dead in his room, the window wide open to the rain. He died with a strange, triumphant smile on his lips. He was buried next to Catherine, just as he had always wished. The villagers began to whisper that two ghosts could be seen walking the moors together during stormy nights. With Heathcliff gone, the cycle of vengeance finally ended. Cathy and Hareton decided to marry and move back to Thrushcross Grange, leaving the darkness of Wuthering Heights behind. Peace returned to the moors at last. Their story proved that while hatred can destroy lives, love has the ultimate power to rebuild and forgive.
Well done! You have completed the intermediate version of this intense story. How was the vocabulary? To fully understand the details, please download the free PDF worksheet from the description box. It will help you master the new phrases. Do you feel confident? If you want to experience the story with its original, sophisticated language, click here for the advanced level. It is a real challenge. I am curious about your taste in books. Which classic novel should be next? Jane Eyre, Frankenstein, or something else? Please tell me your favorite classic in the comments below. Thank you for listening with us. Don't forget to subscribe to NovelListen for more literature and learning. See you in the next story. Goodbye.